Very good morning to you, afternoon, in fact, regardless of where you
Very
are.
only just. It's
Yes,
very
it's
good
only
noon,
just after,
I guess.
a very good noon to you in South Africa, and a good late afternoon to you if you're in Pakistan. You are joining us for the third session of the third day. This is the third day, hey?
Yeah, 3-3.
Day 3 of this first test between South Africa and Pakistan from Karachi, from the National Stadium in Karachi. And the news is that South Africa have actually done quite well in response to Pakistan's 378. So they had a lead of 158 runs following South Africa's 220. But they are 84 for 1 now. The man out is Dean Elgar. He got wrapped on the finger by Shane Afridi, and then a few overs later landed up getting out, sweeping to Yasser Shah, the first ball that he had faced of Shah the whole innings. But it was clearly being bothered by that hand of his. And the news is he has gone for x-rays. Still within the bio bubble somehow, they're managing that. But he's gone off for x-rays, so we'll wait to hear news from that. It is Yasser Shah who is going to be opening the bowling. I'll introduce my fellow commentators to you in a moment as he comes right on over the wicket, spins it away from Rassie van der Dussen, who plays it out into the offsides, the rather cavalier cut shot, and they go through for a single. Rassie's to 18 off 81. Markram's 34 off 129. He's about to face now in South Africa, 85 for 1. Joining me on the mic is Tim and Chris, and welcome to both of you guys.
Thanks. Thank you very much. Happy to be back after us two doing the last session as well.
Yeah, it was good to spend a little bit of time on the mic with you guys. I was had to shorten my trip somewhat. I was a little later than normal. In fact, no, I was with you guys the second tier was when Chepa was the one who was late. This one just defended off the front foot and no run. Yasser Shah has bowled very, very well through the course of today. Very parsimonious indeed as he loops this one through and it's just left alone by Aiden Markram. They seem to be fairly confident that he's not going to turn it the other way, or that they're very confident they can read the one that comes back.
Right, yeah. Beyond the parsimony, he's also by far looked the most threatening. There have been lots of half chances. And Aiden Markram's actually been given a couple of chances. He had LBW appeal overturned, and then he was also dropped at first slip off a very thick outside edge.
This one is a bit shorter, and Aiden's able to rock back and just play it off the pitch out to that man who is in a sort of neither here nor there position in a deep cover, but nowhere near the boundary. And they're able to take a single, hitting it straight at him. I'm not 100% sure what the thinking is having him there. Looped again and driven by Aiden Markram. This time that man does... that was Rassie van der Dussen who drove it out. And that man seems to have come in a little bit, and he's able to cut off the single and no run, 86 for 1.
Perhaps it's just that. Stop the single.
Well, you see, it's not stopping the single, though, because we've seen a couple of times if they hit it even 2 or 3 meters to one side of him, they're able to get through for one, particularly if they don't hit it hard. This one comes on straight, it sticks low, and van der Dussen is squared up in front of the stumps. He gets his bat down on it, but if he had missed that, it would have been the plummest of plum, as it is.
It would have been curtains, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think van der Dussen was in any real danger of missing it, other than the problem that it had kept low. But he had gone back to defend anyway, and I think if he had been in a slightly more attacking mindset, he could have been in some trouble. That is the end of that over, and it is going to be Shane Afridi to bowl from the other end. He's been a little bit more expensive, 9 overs, 0 for 28. The real impact he's had on the game is I think possibly breaking the hand of Dean Elgar, who was very, very sore. He got him on the right hand of the left-hander, so that bottom hand. And although it didn't really seem to impact his batting very much, he was still playing attacking shots. He certainly wasn't comfortable.
Right, we have been told now that Dean Elgar doesn't have a broken hand. Whether he'll be available for the next test might still be up in the air, but yeah, at least it's not broken.
Okay, well, that's really, really good news. So he's got about a week to ice it before he has to come back in. as Markram defends sort of half back, half forward. One that kept a little bit low, and he just jammed his bat down on it, and no run.
And for the first time in a while, we've had a break in the spin twins. We've had spin from both ends for a good long time before the break. Decided that they picked 3 fast bowlers for a reason. May as well use one of them.
Yeah, and he's been, I think, generally the go-to man for the Pakistanis when they've wanted to look for a wicket. Although he hasn't been that incisive this innings, as he comes left arm around the wicket, and it's all defence by Aiden Markram, no run.
But he is the one that has the ability to bowl that Jaffa. He has the ability to swing the ball both ways, to get the reverse. He's easily the best pace bowler in the side.
Yeah, he is, although he's not someone who I think would necessarily walk into to any of the great pace bowling attacks that are currently in world cricket. I can't imagine him easily finding a spot in the New Zealand or Australian or South African or England sides right now, as Markram just rocks back, plays this out square of the wicket on the offside, and they go through for an agreed single. He goes to 36, and South Africa 87 for 1, the Australian Nelson.
And we do have a few tweets. David Midgley says, I'm a fan of... Oh, we're going to have to... There's a no ball retroactively called there as well. So we can have a look at that. We've been seeing so many no balls so far in this match. I don't mind it. I think it'll get better and better as bowlers get used to being called by the third umpire.
Yeah, at least this one is a real no ball. There was one that was called on Keshav yesterday that I thought was ridiculous. But this one does definitely seem to have been a legitimate no ball. So he is going to have to bowl that one again, as he jams it in looking for the shorter ball, but it keeps quite low and it's just worked into the onside, no problem, by Rassie van der Dussen. They go through for a single. 88 for 1, 88 the two fat ladies. 89
so
for
that
1,
was the third no ball of this innings, all 3 of them from Shaheen Shah Afridi. The South Africans had 10 no balls in their bowling innings, and we had 7 no balls in the very first innings, 3 from Shaheen Shah Afridi, 2 from Hassan Ali, and 1 from each of the spinners. So they're good 20 no balls so far.
They're definitely calling more no balls than they ever did before. The reason that I am very, very glad for is that they're not getting into the situation where they only check the no ball at wickets. So at least from a bowling point of view, you are being warned that you're overstepping, which is a much better plan than for 2 or 3 years in world cricket we had that problem.
We had this policy. I was just going to say, if we had this policy a while ago, Morne Morcom had 10 or more extra wickets to his resume.
He would have indeed, and I personally blamed the South Africans for that, because they obviously knew it was a problem. Why on earth they weren't getting mid-off or mid-on to watch his front foot and to warn him when he was overstepping, so that he could be aware of it, because I think he was probably overstepping much more than we realized, but they were only checking it for the wickets. As Afridi comes in again, left arm around the wicket, left alone by Markram, and no run.
That's definitely something that I've done at the university cricket level, where I noticed one of our bowlers was bowling a good half foot over the line every time an umpire just wasn't calling it. And that can be fine at the time, but you don't want the umpire to suddenly call it when you do get the wicket. Yeah,
it's an interesting one where I never know as an umpire whether I should warn the batsman, the bowler, that he's getting close. Certainly in training games, I talk a lot to the bowler about where their foot is landing, as this is defended into the offside, no run. Not so much when they're straddling the line, but often I see bowlers, particularly quite inexperienced players, bowling from well back from the line. Often a full stride back, and that's where, as an umpire, I will, particularly in practice games, I will talk to the bowler and get them to move up a little bit closer to the crease, where they can get an extra yard of pace for absolutely no extra energy.
What I don't like is they're bowling no balls at the practice session. I see it all the time. Majority of the balls that they bowl in the practice session are no balls.
Yeah, you're quite right, and that's a basic. There it's the coaches who really need to watch it, and I've never really understood why bowlers don't adhere to the markings a little bit more closely at in the net.
One of my friends was a net bowler for the Australians when they came on that fated tour, and they had a sensor in the net to check in the net. Yeah, the net bowlers if they're bowling no balls. I think it's just a laser system on the line to make sure that they're staying behind it.
Yeah. So now, do they set that up a foot's length in front of the line, so it's picking up your toe, or how does it work?
I mean, I wasn't there, and I didn't get the exact details. I would imagine it's more it's on the line, and if there's nothing, if it doesn't pick up anything,
well, you see, because you want to be able to. You see, if it doesn't, no, it would have to be in front of the line, because otherwise it would be catching you every time you stepped on the line, surely.
But if it's checking that there's nothing in its way as you deliver, perhaps to make sure that it's not the line isn't broken.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, we've had a couple of balls in this over from Yasser Shah, just defended into the offside. Nothing's really happening. The run rate this innings is spot on 2 runs and over, a fraction over 2 runs and over. Markram now does rock back and just plays that ball with a straight bat out square of the wicket, and it is that deepish cover who sends it in and makes life difficult for Rizwan, who lands up falling over as he takes the ball. They go through for a single, 91 for 1.
I think that was a googly. You talked about googlies earlier. I think that was a googly, but it was too wide to have any real effect.
They do seem to be reading him for the googly, because and this is short. It's a terrible ball that he pulls down, and Rassie van der Dussen is very, very quick to latch onto that, and it bounces a couple of times and goes into the advertising hoardings, and that runs away for 4. Van der Dussen onto 23. This was good batting because he hasn't had reason to play a shot like that for his entire innings. But the second that Shah dragged it down, he was able to latch onto it immediately and played a very, very good lofted pull, really. Well, lofted sweep, rather. It was really a pull that he had to just get down onto one knee for, and got the boundary.
I'm trying to look up this no ball sensor. There's a Brisbane Times article on it, but I don't want to have to watch the video to try and figure out how the system works.
Fair enough. Yasser Shah now back on target. He's managed to get his sensors working again, and this one got a little bit of drift into the right-hander and then spun away, and Van der Dussen just defended out into the offside. No run. Final ball of the over coming up. This will be the final ball of the 17th over by Yasser Shah, as it's worked into the onside. This one might run away down to the boundary as well. There is a good sliding stop there by Hassan Ali, who sends it back into the striker's end. They take 2, Van der Dussen to 25, South Africa to 97 for 1, and a good over from South Africa. I think they got 7 runs off it.
Yeah, that's a very good.
Which should be the most in a while.
Yeah, for a very long time.
Very good over. As we said earlier, while Markram is given a couple of chances, Rassie's looked solid throughout his innings. But the moment he came in, he's just done exactly what he can do. So
he's a good argument for delaying the selection of batsmen, isn't he? Until they've really got first-class cricket under their belts and have solved that conundrum, as it were. As Shaheen starts his new over, and it is driven into the covers. There's a rolling stop. I'm sure they came through for a single there. They didn't. That's interesting. They elected not to take the run, and Aiden Markram worried about his bat. He feels that didn't feel particularly good off the willow at all.
I think maybe not in semi-recent times. In the last 10 years, the Australians have been quite good at giving batsmen goes late in their careers. Your Chris Rogers, Adam Voges have been real useful players for them, even if you only have them for a couple of years.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think it's vital that your domestic players know that there is an opportunity to play international cricket right, even to their final year before retirement. I think that probably keeps the quality of your domestic cricket up as well. And I've been enormously irritated that Kirsty Thompson has struggled to get back into the Proteas side, having gone away and got a medical degree. And because she's 32, but 32 is the same age as guys like Virat Kohli, and and particularly in the women's game, I think that's still where it is slower. Your eyes aren't going to go nearly to the same extent as they might if you're an opening batsman in the men's game. I think there's absolutely no reason not to be selecting people well into their mid-30s.
And she did play very well in the recent MSL. Kirsty Thompson, I think she got a couple of 40s or thereabouts.
She absolutely did. And as this is defended into the onside, no run. Look, she is probably competing for that spot with Faye Tunnicliffe, who's a genuine young talent and is going to play a lot of Proteas cricket. And I think there is some thoughts that that momentum team is building for the next couple of World Cups, in which case you probably don't want to be selecting people in their mid-30s. But I know she was gutted. She went for the camp, but wasn't selected for the final 17, and she was absolutely gutted to be let go. Shaheen Afridi again left arm around the wicket, angling in and defended into the onside, no run.
And without wanting to put the markers on him, we're still on Aiden Markram, high score away from home. Watch, he's got a high score of 39 outside of South Africa, currently sitting on 38. So we'll give him a round of applause if and when he manages to do that.
Why could you say that when he was in 40?
That it really is problematic, isn't it? I mean, that's really not good enough for someone who's. How many innings has he played away from home? Do you have that easily?
I think this is just his 5th match away from home, so it's small
okay.
size, but still 4
All
matches.
Right, so it's not terrible.
You'd expect him to have a score higher than 39 across 4 matches.
Well, he drives to mid-off now, so he will get through for a single to take himself to 39. I hope. We haven't. No, he hasn't. It looks like.
Yeah,
no,
he does.
He did take the single. Yes. Okay.
The scorecards in this series have been slower than any I've had to work with in a while. Where it's a good couple of seconds after the run scored, and it updates, and it does cause you to second guess yourself quite a bit.
I suppose the trick is actually to have Cricket Info up near me so that I can at least check if they have gone through for the single, because that's usually a little bit quicker.
And that's also the 50-run partnership of 179 deliveries. It's exactly what South Africa needed.
Yeah,
it's our first 50 partnership of the match. In fact, we didn't manage to pass that barrier in our first innings, and then Pakistan showed us how to do it over and over again in theirs.
And we didn't get one. It was 48 for one, wasn't it? Yeah, in the opening. Yeah. I thought somehow that we had got to 50 there, as this is worked off his hips by Van der Dussen in front of square, and they go through for a well-run 2, and that takes South Africa to their 100.
Yeah, that's sort of moral barrier overcome. Just 58 runs behind now, and yeah, you never want to feel too comfortable, but starting to feel like we may know what we're doing in this innings compared to the first.
Shaheen is looking a little bit frustrated with his bowling at the moment. Sort of bowling both sides of the wicket, not finding the right line and length. So Pakistan will be worried about that.
Yeah, he certainly hasn't looked particularly dangerous. Other than the ball that he's had one that stuck very, very low, but was going down leg, and that they actually wasted a review on that. And he's had the one that hit Dean Elgar, but beyond that, it's been fairly pedestrian from Shaheen, and I wonder whether maybe it's time to bring one of the other guys in. Yeah, so Shah continues in his role as he floats one in towards Markram and defended into the offside, and no run. It is amazing how much easier he is to play the second he drops it short. And so as long as he's chucking it up above the eye line here and getting some real float in towards the batsman, they're very circumspect about playing him as, once again, a textbook forward defensive by Aiden Markram.
It's all because it's coming very slowly off the pitch. It's getting turned, but it's very slow.
Yeah,
So,
and although
it's
he's
much
whipping it
easier.
in at 90 Ks, it's not sort of carrying on with that pace once it hits the pitch.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look like he's boating at 90 k's an hour. It's floating in there. And he's getting a little bit of movement through the air as well, which is quite fun. Not a huge amount, not as much as someone like Nathan Lyon often manages, but certainly just a little bit of wobble in the air, enough to keep the batsman guessing. That one also defended into the onside this time, by the way. More of the same, forward defensive, no run.
I remember watching a match perhaps closer to when he first came on the scene. All I remember was I was at my old house, so 2015 or earlier, and he was the first spinner I'd really noticed get massive rip. I think he was bowling in tandem with Zulfika Barber at the time, and both of them were getting amazing drift.
This is a fuller ball that is on the leg stump, and Markram is able to flick it away into the onside. And it runs quite slowly out to that mid-wicket boundary. It's a long chase for Shaheen. And the batsmen are able to get through for 3, which is a good pressure release for Aiden Markram. And he's played this over very, very well. 4 forward defensives, waited for the bowler to make a mistake, and then played it away for runs.
Yeah.
And at the end of this over, I'll just rattle through a couple of tweets that we had, mostly from a while ago, but didn't read them out at the time.
Cool. I look forward to that. It's Rassie van der Dussen who will be facing the last ball of this over, and Yasser Shah rather drops it a bit shorter. He's able to play it into the offside. They jog through for a single. Rassie's on 28, Markram's on 42, and South Africa 104 for 1.
There was a time where we were talking about our favorite cricketers, especially trying to choose ones from outside the country that we support. David Midgley says he's a fan of Kane Williamson for his own reasons. I think we at least know what those are. He's always been compared to Williamson based on his beard and his face. Armchair Cricket Podcast doing what they do best, summarizing the session that we saw, saying great to see South Africa applying themselves and not caring about the run rate at this stage. Keeping wickets in hand when they get ahead is crucial. It's still day 3 and plenty of time left if they want to bat to a total they can feel comfortable to attack from. And then Paul's friend, Antonio Gambino, says our batsmen need to display the grit rather that Olga often does, and stay in at the crease in order to make this match competitive and hopefully win it.
Shaheen is left arm over the wicket nicely. He's had a bit of a change, but straight away is driven through the offside, and this looks like the ball is going to win the chase to the boundary. It does indeed, and that is van der Dussen, who goes into the 30s now, 32. And a really, really good start of the over for South Africa, 108 for 1.
And then we've got another sketch from Dr. Dan Diper, this one of Yasser Shah, and slightly less pencilly, a sort of bolder medium. It looks like almost big Koki pens done to do this picture of Yasser Shah. We're one of the many people that he's tagged in that.
Excellent. He's certainly been prolific through this morning. I think that's the 3rd or 4th one that we've seen from him in this morning.
Yeah, massive output.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Dr. Dan Diper. Shaheen Afridi continuing on this left arm over the wickets, and this time just gets the defensive shot from van der Dussen, and he's angling it across the right-hander. I think it was certainly he needed to change things up a bit and getting his radar a little bit more set now.
That first ball, he was just sort of striving for that money ball. He was just striving a bit too hard. The second ball was a lot better.
He was indeed sort of floated it up and demanded that it get driven through the offside. Rassie van der Dussen's not going to miss too many of those. He stands up straight, waiting for the ball, but leaves this one well alone as it's angled across him. Only one slip in place. If you're going to angle it across the right hands, I'll put an extra slip in there, I would have thought.
Well, I wasn't surprised when we didn't have a second slip for much of Pakistan's innings. But every time I said that, they edged the ball straight down second slip's throat. But there isn't much carry on this pitch, so I can understand it. I can understand why they're losing to the extra slip fielder.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
intrigued
we
by the
even
leg
saw
side.
Aiden Markram with the helmet at second slip coming nice and close, trying to get those ones that die on the slips.
Well, Shaheen Freedy now tries to bring it a little bit straighter, and it's easily clipped off the pads by Rassie for a single, and that takes South Africa to 109 for one, Rassie to 33. I was really interested by the leg side fielders in South Africa's innings, and in fact, I saw something similar from Pakistan a little bit earlier today. A backwards catching square leg, about double the distance back that your short square leg would normally be. And in fact, we saw, was it Keegan Peterson took the catch there on the first day.
Yes.
And, it was a perfectly placed. I mean, he didn't have to move left or right to take it. As Afridi comes in for the fifth ball of his over and defended into the offside no run. He actually falls over in his enthusiasm to bowl the effort ball.
Yeah, his demeanor afterwards made him almost look dizzy, but I don't think that is the case. Just the way he had his hands in the air, as if he'd been, just confused and dazed by the fact that he's fallen over. We saw that he changed his shoes a couple of overs ago. He's done that classic fast bowler thing and has the big toe cut out.
Yeah.
As far as I know, no boot manufacturers are coming out with shoes with those pre-cut.
Yeah, you would think that maybe a little bit of very, very flexible elastic stuff around the toe. I've got an uncle who takes scissors to his running shoes every time that he buys a new pair. As the last ball of the over is defended into the onside, and they come through for a single, which means Markram's going to retain the strike, and he goes to 43. South Africa 110 for one. And Afridi still with no wickets into his name, 0 for 41 off 12.
And so I trust that there's a similar thing with running where your toes are impacted. It's not just that he's a fast bowler that has to show it off no matter what he's wearing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it very much depends on the runner. Certainly, my shoes wear in the front. So once I've had a shoe for 1,000 Ks or more, it develops a hole over the big toe. But my uncle will cut a slits in the front of the shoe so that it's as he says, his toes can see where he's going. Very similar to what fast bowlers do. But he also cuts the heel of the shoe off, not the heel, the bit that comes around your Achilles tendon at the top there. He cuts that flat. He feels that if it's built up there, it impacts into your Achilles, which I've never really heard. But he's being a gear, he's not short of opinions. They jog through for a single here, so it'll be Van der Dussen to face. Plenty of duplicate numbers. So Markram's on 44, Van der Dussen's on 33, and the score is 111 for one.
Do those cancel each other out? Do I need to lift my feet up? What happens?
I don't know. He's just bowled a ball at 88.8 kilometers an hour, so there's a lot going on.
I'm going to take it that's good luck somehow.
Let's think so. 8 is generally a good number, so 88.8's got to be good. This is down the leg side, and actually could have turned around Van der Dussen if he hadn't got his bat there. But as it is, they're able to get through for a single to knock us off some of these duplicate numbers. So Rassie goes to 34 and the score to 112.
If you remember,
suddenly the energy is less tense.
Yes, especially when you don't know whether it's a good omen or a bad one. Just a brief change of the field. I'm not quite sure what they were doing as Shah comes in for the fourth ball of his over. And again, a little bit shorter, and they're able to play it to mid-off. There is a direct hit there. There is an appeal. I'm sure the umpire was not in a great position. So he is going to go upstairs. But I think it looked like Aiden Markram was home.
Yeah, the angle that we got made it look like he was in by half a meter, foot and a half.
Yeah. Umpire was slow to react there, to be honest. He would have got marked down if he was being assessed at club level. But Aiden Markram easily in as that throw comes in. Good cricket all-rounder.
Yeah, the direct hits do a good job of keeping the batsman under pressure. Maybe they'll second guess that next one.
Pakistan
given not out.
Pakistan have hit the stumps an awful lot of their fielding. Both innings.
And even when they haven't, the wicketkeeper rather has been very good to be in the right position to quickly take the bails off.
Who was it who got a shorter ball again? And Van der Dussen, I think, would wish that he had made more of that. He tried to whip it through the onside, but it's straight at the man at mid wicket. Who was it who got run out with a throw in from fine leg or third man in the first innings? A superb throw.
How about thrower?
Was it Babazam who gave the throw in? Who was the batsman?
And Rassie van der Dussen was the batsman.
Rassie van der Dussen was the guy who got run out.
No, because with Rassie's run out, Rizwan had to collect it quite a long way from the stumps and dive in. There was another one.
Timber was the other one where Hassan.
Yes,
Timber.
Yes.
Sorry, Timber.
That was one of the best throws in from the outfield I've ever seen in terms of exactly where you ask for it as a wicket keeper. 2 centimeters away from the bails, and he literally had to take it and flinch his muscles, and he had taken the bails off. Short of an actual direct hit, it was the perfect throw.
Yeah.
That is defended into the offside. No runs. South Africa 113 for 1. Van der Dussen on 34 off 97, and Markram 45 off 155. Close enough now that Markram beginning to think about a 50. Not a good idea, knowing Markram's ability to get himself out.
No, so think about that.
Anis Mohammed says, people complaining about Rassie's slow batting obviously never suffered through Hansi batting at 3 and scoring 135 or 400 odd balls in 1992 versus India in PE.
Jeez, I don't remember that. What was I doing in 1992?
I'm sure that happened, but I don't remember that either.
Yeah, look, we were so thrilled just to be watching international cricket at that stage. We didn't care about anything other than the fact that it was happening.
Oh, no, I remember that innings clearly.
A generation before you were born, Chris. When were you born?
But late 97.
97, yeah, okay. I already had a bachelor's degree by then, mate.
But I think we can appreciate slow innings after we commentated on Harris Sahel batting against New Zealand a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that was painful. And you and I were alone for that entire day.
Yeah. We took a break for the T20. There was a T20 on that. I don't think we planned on doing until we just were repeating the same thing after every Harris Sahel delivery. We eventually just went, okay, let's go do Australia, India.
It was much better. Yeah, it was we had done the game on something of a spur of a moment, and I think we actually ended up not doing the next couple of days. I just abandoned it. I thought there's no ways I'm doing that again.
And then I think the next couple of days became interesting. That was always the curse.
As a lofted drive comes out of Aidan Markram's locker there, and a really good-looking shot, and I think pretty safe. It was through a gap, away for 4, 117 for 1, and Markram now to 49 of 157.
We're one short of the milestone.
Aren't you supposed to? I'll say what you said to me earlier. Why can't you bring that up? He's already got his 50.
Yeah, it was a good confident shot, and the first real piece of aggression I've seen from Markram while I've been watching him the whole day. He hasn't been scratchy. I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but he's been very, very cautious. Markram on 49. Just one that keeps low, but he managed to jam his bat on it and gets both hands down on the crease. But he is going to get to jog through for a single. He lifts his bats in a low-key kind of a way to the 4 South Africans who are applauding him from the benches on the boundary, and the rest of the squad clapping from the balcony. And Markram goes through to his 50.
Yeah, we spoke about it. Obviously, his first 50 away from home, eventually 50 runs off 158 deliveries with just 6 boundaries, lots of strike rotation, 21 singles in that innings.
I'm sure he feels a sense of relief as well. He's one of these guys who, regardless of what he does, he seems to remain under pressure from the general public. As it's now worked into the onside by Rassie van der Dussen, they come through for a single. And was it a single or 2? I think just the one. 120 for 1 now.
And we're also carry on, Tim.
That nervousness from the fans rubs off on him, because he often comes in and he looks scratchy. He looks as if it looks as if he feels he's got to prove a point. He's got to dominate. He's got to score quickly, what he needs to do is what he's done today. 50 for 158. That's what the situation required, and he's done exactly what the situation required, not what the Twitter sphere is asking him to do.
Yeah, a little bit disturbing that if we hadn't had the access to DRS, he would have been gone a couple of times.
Right.
But, I mean, thank goodness we do these days, I think.
Yeah.
Van der Dussen now to face. He's on 36 off 98 and just defends back to the bowler. No run, 120 for 1.
And again, Tim, let me know if I'm stepping on your stats toes.
Yeah.
But
no, I'm still way off mine.
Okay. Well, we've been doing a lot of 40 average watching after the beginning of that Sri Lanka series where we had no batsman averaging over 40. Now I think we've got Elgar and Faf both averaging over 40. And if Markram gets 4 more runs here and remains not out, he'll also average over 40.
A ball that squares Van der Dussen up a little bit. He gets a leading edge, which flies away on the bounce to Yasser Shah. That really could have gone anywhere. It would have been a good shot for LBW if he had missed it. And could very easily have landed up being caught anywhere in a fairly wide arc on the offside. But as it is, it bounced quite safely. That is the end of that over. Markram's on 50. Van der Dussen survives on 36. And South Africa 120 for 1. Shaheen, 13 overs bowled, 0 for 48.
For those of us who watched Test cricket in Pakistan before 2009, we will know that while this looks like a lull and it looks like pitch is flat, things can change very, very quickly in Pakistan. There's often a clump of wickets. Not that I want them to happen, but that's often
that's not what I want to hear, Tim.
But that is often the way that it happens. So it looks flat. It looks like we're in control. But things change very quickly.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. It looks like it's one of those pitches that is reasonably easy to bat on once you're in, but is quite a handful when you're first getting in. There is a change of bowler as Nauman Ali comes into the attack and is straight away on the money, getting a defensive shot out of Aiden Markram and no run.
Yeah, Nauman Ali was bowling very well before the tea break. I think it makes sense to see him come back in. We'll see if that means Yasser Shah doesn't continue any further.
Yeah, his figures at the moment are 0 for 9 off 7 overs. He's coming through and around as a left arm bowler to the right-hander, and again just getting the defensive shot out of Aiden Markram. Partnership now 72 off 206 balls, so going along at about 2 runs and over. It's been cautious stuff, but it's been important stuff for South Africa. Ali in again, and slightly round-armed right into that little spot. If there was a dinner plate on a length at Rassie van der Dussen, at Aiden Markram's off stump, Nauman Ali would have hit it 3 times out of 3 in the first 3 balls of this over.
This is the right line for him.
And it's been given
retroactive. Retroactive no ball from the spinner.
So it's back to 2 balls from this over. But he gets it right on that spot again, moving it ever so slightly away from the right-hander, and no run, 121 for 1. It was a close no ball, this. I'm not thrilled about that. Well, I suppose you can't be not thrilled about it.
Yeah.
It was a no ball, and so therefore
you can't allow judgment to be part of it.
Yeah, exactly. Drifting slightly more to the leg side, but Markram, I think, was in a defensive mindset. Wasn't able to work that one away and just defended again. No run. I think he's very much setting himself again. You're always told that must be the plan when you get to 50. I wouldn't know, having never got there.
Me neither. 48 high score.
Exactly. Defended again and no run.
Unless you can't garden cricket, in which case I have a merciless 180 over about an hour against my parents.
That is patient parenting for sure. Final ball of the over, I think. Yeah, and played back to the bowler, and Nauman Ali makes a bit of a mess out of fielding it off his own bowling, but that is the end of the over. And I think that was all that Markham wanted to do, was just survive that over and get a sense of what Ali is going to be bowling.
We've got a conversation on Twitter that I'll go back for the full context. Antonio Gambino 3 hours ago said, "I'm here for the Olga double century. He better not mess it up this time." And then once he went out, Anees Mohammed said, "You jinxed him." And then Antonio Gambino has now said, "Oh, sorry, I meant Markram." And Anees Mohammed posted a gif of Conan O'Brien going, "Why?"
Stop while you're ahead. Don't keep going.
Yeah. So, yeah, unless Markram does get a double ton, we're all gunning for Antonio.
Yeah, look, it'd be good to see Aiden get some decent runs here, and but he is going to be one of those guys who the world is going to be calling for his head right the way through his career until suddenly we look up and discover he's South Africa's most successful opener ever or something in 10 years' time. Right, so Hassan Ali is coming into the attack. He gets it to jag back a little bit to Rassie van der Dussen, who plays it into the covers, and no run. The South Africans definitely look quite a lot more comfortable against the seamers. And
yeah, I mean, van der Dussen played that very comfortably, but that was a ball that moved pretty prodigiously. It stayed pretty straight, and then off the seam, it moved in massively. Yeah, I guess we're getting into the later overs where the ball will start to reverse. It's not, I'll get the number of overs. Is it 51 overs of this innings?
I was about to have a look. Yeah, 51 overs. This is the 50 seconds. Ali bowling from the pavilion end. It's worked into the onside. A diving stop by Shaheen Afridi at mid-on. He knocks it on a little bit, and that enables the batsman to jog through for a single. Van der Dussen on 37. South Africa on 122 for one.
Talking about overs, yes, we can go to quick info and see the overs, but at the bottom of the screen on the broadcast, I like it all. It's all separate colors, so it's easy to see. But the live from Karachi is unnecessary, in my opinion. I'd much rather have overs there.
Absolutely, I agree with you. That's someone has made a committee decision there. As depended into the upside and no run.
Everything else is perfect. Everything else is absolutely fine. But I'd like the overs in.
As we watch another one of these product placements, this one is dreadful.
Get some in-depth tic-tac-toe commentary.
Yeah.
And he's done it. The taller man with a moustache has won some solar panels.
Rigged each time, yeah. Oh, nicely clipped off his toes by, I think that was Aiden Markram, and it's going to head off into the mid-wicket boundary. That goes away for 4, and that will take Markram to 54 of 159 balls, I think, and South Africa to 126 for 1.
Yeah, slowly filling me with more and more confidence, just 32 runs behind now.
In much the same way, I think if we were bowling too straight at times, I think Pakistan are guilty of the same thing here. Bowling too much on the stumps and drifting towards the leg. They'd be better off bowling a little bit outside off like that.
Yeah, again, Hassan Ali getting a good swing in to the right-hander. And I think there was a bit of bounce on that as well. Markram certainly reacted like it had sprung off the pitch at him. As the drift is in the air, it's just caught him on the bottom hand, I think, or just spun the back.
And one side of that ball is looking pretty dog-eared. It really looks rough on the ball that was away from the batsman at that stage.
Yeah, they managed the ball well. So it's a conventional swing at the moment, I think, into the right-hander. Or is it? I never know.
Oh, that was reversed because it's rough sides away from the batsman and swinging against him.
Yes, you're quite right. So it is reversing in from Hassan Ali. That is the end of the over, 126 for 1. Markram's there on 54. Van der Dussen is there on 37. I know some of our relief are waiting in the, I don't know what you call it, the waiting room.
The backstage.
So I think they're just waiting for the guys to sink a little bit, and then and Mpho is going to get us to, I think, do one more over before he brings the other guys in.
With some of the nomenclature we have backstage live from Karachi, you could mistake this for a concert.
The glamour, guys! I'm telling you. Yeah, I mean, my favorite part of this entire test match has been the ads for the tea. There's nothing like getting rank amateurs that you found just wandering around and trying to get them to act natural on TV. Nauman Ali is going to continue his bowling, and there is really some dreadful cricket. It's played into the onside where I'm not sure who fielded it. It was Shaheen, I think, at mid-on. He had a bit of a shy at the non-strikers end. There was no real chance for run out there. Runs away for 4. So it wasn't even a 5. It was just a 4.
Yeah, you'd imagine they try to run one once it's gone past the wickets like that just to get the extra run, but I guess they were satisfied.
Yeah.
With, no, they did have a go, but I guess
they had a go, but yeah.
Well, we'll see the scoreboard update. I can't imagine they didn't run a single at the same time.
They must have, surely. No, Van der Dussen is still on strike. Not quite sure what happened there, because they certainly looked like he was intending to come out. So yeah, he gets a bonus 4 for really no. Oh, that has got to be a good shout.
That's a very good shout.
I would look at reviewing this. He got a good stride in. It hit him. I think it brushed the front pad first and then went onto the back, which is why it was maybe given not out, and so it turned into the batsman. That they're not going to take.
Pakistan, they do have 2 reviews remaining, but looks like we were far more interested in them.
Yeah, I would.
We'll have to see the replay. Maybe there was a noise that we didn't pick up. I don't know.
Yeah, oh, that's possible. Yeah. Well, I've been really looking forward to seeing that replay there. But if it just brushed the front pad, I think that's probably enough for it to have been turning down leg. But certainly once it had hit the back pad and was onto the front pad and onto the back pad, then it was definitely going to be hitting the stumps. Let's have a look at it. Oh, big inside. Okay, yeah, good umpiring there. Well done. Nauman Ali for the 4th ball of his over, left arm around, defended off the back foot by Rassie van der Dussen, and no run. 130 for 1.
The fight continues.
Does indeed. Rassie van der Dussen, another guy who must be lucky. He still doesn't have a test match century. He's on 98. He was out on the last time. Left arm around, played into the offside, but there is a man there at a short cover. It's Yasser Shah who does the fielding, and no run. So this will be the final over of Nauman Ali's stint, and I think the final over of our commentary stint as well, assuming that Otto and Ken and who is the other chap who's going to be joining it, and Ravi Nair from Mumbai. They will be joining us and taking you through on air. That's the end of that over. 130 for 1. Rassie remains on 41 after that luxurious ball that he was given for free. Aiden Markram is there on 54. And Nauman Ali's figures 0 for 14 off 9 overs. That's the end of that. Let's see. Do we have the chaps coming in? Yeah, we do.
Well, you are relieved.
Hi, guys. Thank you very, very much for taking over from us, Ken and Ravi. And I'm assuming that Otto is going to be joining us as well. So I will bid you chaps adieu. Enjoy your time together.
Okay.
All right. It's
Thank you.
Hassan Ali, who's Hassan Ali bustling in and just draws a solid forward defensive stroke from Aiden Markram. No run. Good afternoon, Ravi.
Good afternoon, Ken. First time we've been on together. It's good to see you.
Looking forward to it. Yourself. Yeah, 130 for 1 South Africa now, trailing by 28. It just shows you how crucial that first hour this morning was when Pakistan really went to town, the tail with the bat. And because South Africa would be in the lead now with just 1 wicket down if it weren't for that.
Well, may I go through some tweets quickly?
Great idea.
Yeah. Well, Ravi the heavy roller ready. Says 50 for Aiden Markram. Well played, Chief. Sorry, there's a ball.
Hassan Ali again just settling on a good line and length, and Markram defends into the covers. No run.
Now all Markram has to do to get to 2,000 runs is to break Brian Lara's record. Doable, said Ravi the heavy roller ready.
Got to love the optimism.
Exactly.
Hassan Ali in again, just sliding onto leg stump, and Markram turns him around the corner to fine leg for a single. 131 for one now, and Markram goes to 54, not out. 55.
Hassan Ali does seem to be straying down leg a bit. One of the faults of the South African bowlers. But if he's replicating it, is it? I don't know. Is it something in the air or what? Anis Mohammed says it is something in the air then.
Yes, exactly. And this one stays a bit straighter. It's outside off stump and played a bit awkwardly by Rassie van der Dussen, but safely enough tapped into the covers for no run.
Anis Mohammed says one of the players batting right now has a 50% conversion rate between 50 and 100. No names. Well, since the only one who scored 100 of those two is Aidan Markram, that's not much of a riddle.
Not sure it's going to keep the jinxes away either, as Van der Dussen defends the delivery, coming back into him fairly sharply to quite a shortish mid-on.
And Leah, interestingly, says, the pitch is not doing much for the bowlers, is it? Disgusting flat track bullying, this.
Always depends on who's bowling on it. And we've certainly seen some balls leap up off the surface, and all the batsmen have taken a few blows on the hand, none worse than Dean Elgar, as Hassan Ali again. Full pitch, Van der Dussen gets it away past the man at extra cover. They are coming back for a second, and the fielder hauls it in just before the boundary, Azhar Ali, and the batsman cross for the third. So 135 now for one.
Ravi the heavy roller ready says now it's time for Markram to take a new guard and start again. Onwards. I don't think it's quite as easy as that, but in principle, absolutely. And Shoaib Zahid replies to Ravi Reddy and to us, says, just like de Villiers, who lost form against Mohammad Asif and scored that double ton in India.
That is a gorgeous straight drive by Aidan Markram. Hassan Ali just shaping the ball in again, and Markram met it with a wonderful straight bat and just past the stumps. And I dare say that's the best shot he's played this innings thus far. Takes him to 59.
Wonderful. And shot to the leg side of the stumps, and I missed it by inches, to be honest. It was that straight. So just like de Villiers, who lost form against Mohammad Asif and scored that double ton in India, that innings changed his career. This innings might just be a catalyst for Markram to reignite his career. Well, if Markram scores a double ton, it will definitely reignite his career.
Markram.
If
Markram scores a double ton, then South Africa will be well on their way to probably winning this game. So there's a long way to go.
Absolutely. By an inch or two, it missed the stumps. That's all that shot. Ravi the heavy roller ready, introducing us to his diet, which this afternoon consists of fish. Question: does Chris Tyndale pronounce this meal as fosh or fish? Asking for a friend.
I suppose it depends how much New Zealand blood Chris has in him.
Yeah, I've not noticed Chris Tyndale vagaries of pronunciation, but Leah says Markram's strike rate's a bit high here. His doggedness has not yet reached Pujara level of dourness, but a good start from the lad.
As Nauman Ali starts to fresh over and drops that back of the length. Rassie van der Dussen still coming forward and defends solidly, no run.
Yeah, and Simon Lewis says of Markram, he has all the time he needs. Now it's a mind game. #Test cricket. That #Test cricket is a good reminder, of course. And Chris TB, replying to Ravi Reddy's fush post, says, I can't bring myself to like this post.
I think maybe if there's some kale, which you were talking about earlier, with the fish, maybe Chris will like it then.
No, I just think nobody likes their pronunciation being made fun of, but who knows? You think it's Chris prefers kale and doesn't mind us saying fush to him.
Kale or Kale. And Naman Ali is just pushed out into the covers by Rassie van der Dussen. There's no run there either.
Yeah. So we've got nothing on YouTube yet for this session. And nothing on Facebook. So I've got through the tweets now, at least. And is Otto not joining us then? He must be having trouble.
Yeah, I think Otto's been thunderstormed out. There's Naman Ali a bit short down the leg side. Van der Dussen has missed the attempted glance, and wicketkeeper Rizwan also misses it. But Baba Azam scampering from slip tidies up, and there won't be any run there. South Africa stay on 139 for 1.
That was an exciting passage. Both the short ball, which his eyes must have lit up, Van der Dussen, but instead he missed it, and the wicketkeeper missed it.
Naman Ali in again with the man crouching very close in at silly point. Van der Dussen goes forward and defends, turns it on the leg side, and they'll get an easy single down towards the short fine leg. Van der Dussen on to 45, and South Africa 140 for 1.
I think you were a bit complimentary when you said he turned it on the leg side. It was an inside edge almost through his legs, wasn't it?
I thought I saw a little bit of wrist action there, Ravi. Should we give him the benefit of the doubt?
Van der Dussen as a wristy batsman, yeah. Somehow that doesn't strike me as credible, but we'll give him the benefit of that.
Markram forcing Naman off the back foot on the leg side, but can't beat mid-wicket. And that's the end of the over. South Africa 140 for 1, Markram 59, Van der Dussen 45, and the deficit is just 18 runs now.
So you're wearing your South Africa shirt, are you?
Yes, I am, Robbie. It's a bit cold and nippy today, and I decided to put on the long sleeves. I've also got two. The Currie Cup final rugby is being played this weekend, and I've got 2 Zoom press conferences with the 2 competing teams. So I thought I better just wear some sort of neutral rugby jersey for that.
Indeed. Not much that Otto can do. Yes. He's got the thunder down there. So it's up to you and me, Ken, for the next 45 minutes, or 40 minutes now, nearly. So it's up to you, really. You're doing 4 by 4.
As Hassan Ali, that's a good delivery. That just in the channel, just outside off stump, and just a hint of it shaping away there. And Van der Dussen pushing forward, gets thick outside edge away on the offside, but there won't be any run.
Yeah, well, that's the line Hassan Ali needs to aim for. This leg-sidey stuff is not good for Pakistan. It gives away runs, and if they want to, well, I mean, South Africa only trail by 18 runs right now. So, and having lost only 1 wicket, Pakistan have. Oops, that ball. Sorry,
short delivery from Hassan Ali, and very nicely controlled by Rassie van der Dussen, pulling from the hip there, just the 1 leg in the air, and that runs away through square leg for 4. Short ball, not getting up too much there, but Rassie van der Dussen really controlling that very nicely.
He looked as though he had loads of time to play that shot, didn't he? As though he was playing it in slow motion, almost.
Absolutely, he could really pick his spot and get it behind square. Yeah, Hassan Ali in again, back of his length. The Dussen goes back and defends to the short mid-on, no run.
Now, is it a natural reaction of a batsman when he played the ball low down on his back, and then he took his bottom hand to his armpit for some reason?
I noticed that, Robbie, and it did seem a bit strange because I don't think the ball misbehaved or popped up badly or I mean, I can remember in my youth when sometimes you had a bad bat and you'd hit it and you'd get a bit of a shock as Van der Dussen defence from the crease back to the bowler, no run. But yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, well, we had it when the rubber in the bat handle had gone, so that it was pure vibration coming through. But those were with really poor bats in India. So that was a very strange reaction from Van der Dussen.
Yeah, I really doubt. I really doubt it's the bat that's giving him any shock waves there.
Yeah.
Hassan Ali just changing his field here. Van der Dussen 1 away from 50, and they're just trying to put a bit of pressure on him, stop him from getting a single, a short cover and a short mid wicket, and a short mid on as well. So Van der Dussen,
in fact, they tapped the offside completely.
He can score behind the wicket, but this is full, and Van der Dussen just pushes it out to cover point, no run.
Yeah, but even behind the wicket, they have a gully, don't they?
Yeah, I'm thinking if Hassan gets a bit straight, as he has done quite often, with that in swing.
On the leg side, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he could probably work it away fine.
That's a very good point. But Hassan Ali has to stray. So far, he hasn't this over, except
It's
that
an
one.
appeal here from Hassan Ali as he
Tracer.
nips the delivery back into Van der Dussen, but I fancy going over the top and then maybe just sit outside the Nine Wolf stump as well.
Also, I thought he had an inside edge, but I could have been wrong.
Alim Dar seemed to indicate that was a possibility as well. So not too much going for that LBW appeal, I'd suggest. End of the over, South Africa 144 for 1, Markham 59, Van der Dussen 49.
Yeah, they haven't gone for the DRS. Wiser counsels prevailed. Sorry, Babar Azam is captain, yes. Babar Azam is captaining Pakistan. Simon had expressed a concern that who was it who'd captained the previous few tests for Pakistan? Not Rizwan.
In New Zealand, I think it was Rizwan, wasn't it?
Was it Rizwan?
Norman Ali whirling away again, and again, excellent line and length, and just brings a defensive push forward from Markram, no run.
And there was a strange visual of a 5-banded squirrel over there, which is common in the subcontinent. Maybe they like to show us the local wildlife.
Just a replay there as Norman accurate as ever and Markram defends. Yeah, it was a very cute looking squirrel, I must say.
It almost looked like a chipmunk, didn't it, because of the stripes on its back?
Stripes, yeah, sort of a cross between. Here in South Africa, we get a tree squirrel in the bushveld areas, and we get a thing called a ground squirrel in the drier western areas. The ground squirrel's a bit bigger, but he's got the stripes, which that squirrel had.
Well, that squirrel is actually a tree squirrel. Both the 3-banded and the 5-banded squirrels are tree squirrels, but they do come to ground occasionally.
Okay, as that one did to snap up a morsel or two, nominally in again. It's outside the leg stump, and Markram heads it away.
He's bowling over the wicket. He's changed his line, hasn't he?
He has. He switched it obviously to try and use the rough outside Markram's leg stump, and there's a short leg there waiting for a little morsel himself. But,
so he's giving up on the LBW and hoping for the catch.
Into that rough outside leg stump away, and Markram just pads it away. I guess he's hoping that Markram will just do something silly out of the ordinary, maybe try and sweep or But
well, outside the leg stump, as Markram just showed there, the pads are the first line of defence, particularly for an opener.
You're really relying on the batsman to have a bit of a brain fade. Again, that's a decent delivery though. That turns sharply out of the rough and beat the off stump, and Rizwan whips off the bails. Markram almost overbalancing, but safely remains in the crease.
Josie Oak tells us there's a lot of thunder and lightning here in Hyde Park in Joburg. one lightning strike was very close and really rattled the windows. So quite clearly, this is a day for pretty bad weather down there in South Africa, all over.
Now that was short and down the leg side from Namanali, and Markram probably could have tried to score off that delivery, but safety first for him, and he just shoulders arms. 144 for 1. South Africa, as that's the end of Namanali's 11th over. He's conceded just 15 runs.
Right. On YouTube, Ria Weideman says, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for keeping us updated on the game. And David Midgley remembers, with the number of dropped catches and then costing teams dearly, one of the more famous drops has been on my mind. Chris Scott, Durham wicketkeeper, dropped a catch off of someone, turned to the slip and said, I bet you go on and get 100 now. The man he dropped was Lara, who got 501. So...
and this will be Rassie van der Dussen's 50 now as he punches Hassan Ali straight down the ground, the bowler unable to stop it, and they'll come back for 2. So well done, Rassie van der Dussen. Another stout effort by South Africa's number 3. He's faced 123 deliveries to reach that landmark.
Well, it's fewer deliveries than Aiden Markram faced for his 50.
Yeah, Rassie has been quite fluent in this test match by some of his recent stands. I think in the first innings he almost got a bit carried away by how quickly he got going and ran himself out very stupidly. But this innings has been pretty well paced, I think, considering the match situation.
How old is Rassie now?
He is.
He's not
well in
spring chicken.
As this one, he clips off his pad, and it's running away to the square leg boundary, and in fact the fielder has pretty much given up the chase. So 4 more to Rassie van der Dussen. Takes him now to 55.
Yeah, he's 31 years old. I mean, he's only played 6 tests, but he is quite an old player in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking earlier about Naman Ali, who's 34 when making his test debut. So, not a bad move, I think. You know, when you get someone who's 30 years old, as a batsman, they really know their games by then. And Rassie van der Dussen has certainly shown that in the way he's taken to international cricket. Hassan Ali in the game, shortish this time, and van der Dussen goes back and defends to cover point, and they threw for a quick single as there's a bit of a fumble by the fielder. 151 for 1 now.
He's taking his guard a good foot or so outside the stumps, isn't he, Rassie?
Yeah, I guess he wants to take LBW out of the equation. Hassan Ali, not a bowler of any great pace.
Yeah. Oh, you're seeing that previous appeal for LBW, and it looks like it was much closer than we thought.
Hassan Ali in again, and Markram just solidly defends. That short mid-on that Pakistan have been employing has now come even straighter. I mean, he's practically standing on the pitch. So, and still catches at short cover and short mid-wicket.
Yes, Guerrilla Cricket UK calls that the on Hayden because it's right in the batsman's eye line and it's supposed to intimidate him. Chris the Choir.
Back of the net, and Markram just defends to mid-off now, right?
Chris the Choir says, is this the Henry Blofeld tribute hour with all this appreciation of passing wildlife? What chance a London bus? I don't think you're going to find a London bus in Karachi. We just mentioned it because the producer showed it to us. And Anis Mohammed says, weather report from PE, 28 degrees, gentle breeze, and not a cloud in the sky. In other words, perfect weather. Well, Port Elizabeth might have that, but...
Hassan Ali tries a slower ball there. It comes out as a full toss, and Markram, I think, taken a bit by surprise, just pats it back down the wicket. I did mean to add, actually, that thank you, Ria Weideman. Ravi, you read out the YouTube messages. And Ria Vaderman, very kind of you. We do appreciate you very much as well. Just as we appreciate all our listeners on our various channels.
Absolutely. Sorry, I should have said that.
Hassan Ali in again. Full pitch, definitely reverse swing in there. And Markram squeezes it away behind square on the leg side. They think it a second, but good fielding, quick release by the fielder, and they're settled for 153 for 1 now. Markram on 60, Van der Dussen 56, and it looks like we are going to have a drinks break.
Well, that's just in time for us to appreciate another sketch by Dr. Dan Diapa, an impression of Aidan Markram hitting his 7th ball in Karachi, and to hear Ravi the heavy roller ready saying 50 up for Rassie van der Dussen. Well played, mate. In fact, van der Dussen being 56 is nearly catching up with Aidan Markram, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right. It's certainly Rassie. People still seem to be doubting, his place in the side, but he seems to be making a half century fairly regularly at Test level. Obviously, the 3 figures have eluded him, but he's been pretty consistent in that number 3 spot.
Yeah. Well, I hope whoever's looking after the Twitter account retweets Dr. Dan, and I've got the cat now somehow looking for attention behind me. No, baby, you can't. Not right now.
Beautiful cat, Ravi, as cats do. Oh, you're getting bitten, are you?
She's biting. She's biting. She wants attention. Now, gently, darling. It's okay.
Yeah. So Rassie van der Dussen pretty much gets a half century every second innings he's played in Test cricket. Before this test, he had 4 50s in 10 innings. So this will be his 5th half century in his 12th innings. Just a little bit less than 1 in every second innings.
Let's see if this works better. There we go. No, she doesn't like that. No.
So, Ravi, I believe you are based in Mumbai.
Yeah, I followed Bombay. What's that?
Can you tell us, have you ever been to Karachi? I certainly haven't. Can you tell us anything about...
well, it's very difficult between India and Pakistan. So I've never been to Pakistan, any part of it, unfortunately. Not from England, not from India. Definitely not from India. The borders are very tightly controlled, and they look at you with suspicion. In India, if you have a Pakistani visa in your passport, and they look at you with suspicion. Pakistan, if you have an Indian visa in your passport. So it's not an easy situation, unfortunately, which is such a pity, because culturally we're pretty much identical countries, India and Pakistan.
Exactly.
But it's just what it is, and you learn to live with it and try to ignore the politics and carry on with whatever you have to do. Luckily, cross-border, they find it difficult to stop the television channels. So lots of...
I believe you've gone to great efforts to actually be with us today, because it's quite difficult to get coverage of this game, isn't it?
Well, the first day's coverage I could not get because it was Republic Day in India, so they decided not to show anything Pakistani on television, if you would believe it. It's quite crazy. Anyway, we're getting more tea placement. Tapal Danedar, whatever that name. Danedar? I thought it means packed with seeds or something, but quite clearly it's something else.
The South African batsmen just making their way back to the crease, and what a fantastic job these two have done, because things were looking a little wobbly when Dean Elgar lost his wicket, having been roughed up by Shaheen Shah Afridi, and Yasir Shah was turning the ball sharply at the other end. But Markram and Van der Dussen have added 105 now for the second wicket. And South Africa on the brink of erasing the deficit.
Pirate Badsha says, did I hear a meow? Unfortunately, it did. That was my cat. Chris the Choir said, I recently heard On Hayden on ABC commentary. I like to think it originated with guerrilla cricket and has become accepted by the establishment. Oh,
and a wonderful start after the drinks break for South Africa and Aidan Markram. Namanali coming over the wicket still and full over pitching, and Markram has just lashed him through extra cover for 4. So Markram goes now to 64. Beautiful extra cover drive.
Yeah, outside off stump, over pitched, and Markram. I hope this doesn't get Markram thinking he's a stroke maker. He should remember he's an opener. You're still an opener.
Great advice, Ravi, because he does sometimes get ahead of himself, but he's the picture of pragmatism there as he just pads away Namanali's delivery, which was pitched in the rough outside leg stump. And
Josie Oak, complimentary as always, says, I think Ravi should put the cat on ball by ball. I don't know who that's aimed at, you or me. And Anis Mohammed says, wait.
Yes. Just sticks to that line outside leg stump, and Markram looked as if he actually bummed that one away.
Bummed it for wicket. That would be a way of getting out of this. Stephen Cook says, I always thought that Anis Mohammed says, we'll wait for this delivery.
Down the leg side again from Namanali, and Rizwan takes nicely. Just was a polite inquiry about the stumping, but Markram hadn't gone anywhere.
How long will he continue with this line before he gives up with Markram padding him away?
Not much longer, I would think.
Yeah. Well, he's not giving away runs, but he's not presenting any threat, is he?
Yeah, as Markram just gets back to this one on that occasion, pushes it to mid-wicket, no run.
And yes, since the sweep is slightly long from Anis Mohammed, I'll wait for the last delivery. It'll be over and go back to it.
Full from Namanali, and Markram presses forward and defends back down the pitch, no run.
So Anis Mohammed says, I always thought that Stephen Cook wasn't given a long enough run. Only played 11 games, 300s and 250s. Being an opener for the Proteas is a thankless job. Well, yes, but when you get a good one like Dean Elgar, you stick to him like glue. And I think Proteas themselves, the team, values Aidan Markram much more than the fans seem to. I don't know, but it seems to me like that.
I tend to agree with Anissa, because I don't think it was Elgar who took Cook's place. I think they were batting together, and I don't even think actually that it was Markram who took Stephen Cook's place. I'm just trying to think for the life of me who did replace him. Yeah, I mean, Cook basically suffered because the team weren't doing well, and he had maybe 3 failures in a row, and that was him gone, and at his advanced stage. It was always going to be very difficult for him to get back. As Hassan Ali comes at the end short, Van der Dussen tries to parry this well. The leg stump, there's confusion, and he's been given out by the umpire. There's immediately a review.
Yes.
That looked very leg side, and
that wasn't Hassan Ali, that was Fahim.
Fahim Ashraf is on, I beg your pardon, yes.
Yeah. But what? Was that an LBW review?
Van der Dussen has gone for a paddle pull almost. The ball has kept low, but it struck him above the pad. He is hunched down a bit.
It's way down leg side, isn't it? It's surely missing the leg stump.
Yeah, it would be a very peculiar LBW.
Nothing on ultra edge, so it's gone straight to his pads. We've got to see the ball tracking.
Yeah, well, missing leg stump
by... missing leg stump by a mile. I thought so.
I was going to say not a huge amount, but one has to say that just never looked out. And,
Alimdar has to, rather grumpy he looks as he changes the decision to not out. And Fahim Ashraf has to go back and start again.
Yeah,
that really wasn't.
It was also a possibility of a run out there, because Markram was charging down the pitch, and Van der Dussen was going nowhere. But here comes Fahim Ashraf again. Just a gentle approach to the stump. Back of the leg, edged by Van der Dussen, but it doesn't carry to wicketkeeper Rizwan.
And Messages replies to Chris the Choir saying, the concept of guerrilla cricket becoming the establishment would surely be a portent for the end of days. Well, yes, but Guerrilla SA, for instance, is cheek by jowl with the establishment in some ways. Certainly get a lot of super sports gigs, so it's not necessarily beyond the realms of possibility.
And Rizwan seems to have done himself a mischief here. He's hobbling around, something to do with the back of his heel. Looks
For
like
a wicket keeper, he seems remarkably injury prone. This morning, didn't the ball get him in the throat?
It did,
I think
Robbie, yes, yeah. A bit of a wicket bounce, but yeah. Ashraf comes in again, short on off stump, and Van der Dussen pushes it to the man at short cover, no run.
Yeah. Well, Fahim Ashraf, well, he's probably not bowling very quickly, is it? I mean, none of these Pakistan bowlers, what is Shaheen Shah's fastest delivery? Can they match up to the pace of Rabada and Northcare?
Afidi is the one guy who does have some pace. He was above 140 at times. Fahim again, and short of a length, and Van der Dussen turns it off the pads, but straight to that short mid wicket, no run.
Well, at least he's bowling to his field, Fahim, but beyond that, I'm not sure how much of a threat he poses.
Yeah, I would think that Pakistan maybe need to turn back to Yasir Shah some stage soon. He's obviously looked a great threat, a great wicket-taking threat, and I'm not sure why Pakistan would really want to necessarily go all defensive in this situation. Fahim in back of a leg, that one leaps up to take the glove of Rassi van der Dussen and dribbles away on the offside.
Yeah. Actually, South Africa have been stuck one run away from equalising the scores for a while now, haven't they?
Yeah, just some pressure building.
Nauman Ali was all down the leg side, so Markram couldn't take advantage of it. And now Rassi van der Dussen is finding himself hampered by...
and that's a very educated edge by Rassi van der Dussen. Outside off time from Fahim. Van der Dussen pushes out and opens the face, and it goes between the wicketkeeper and what is a very wide slip away to the boundary for 4. I figure that the slip is probably standing at about a third or a fourth slip, Ravi?
Yeah, well, is it even a slip or is it a gully? There's certainly no one next to the wicketkeeper, is there?
And sound the klaxons, ring the bells in celebration. South Africa are in the lead. They're now 3 runs ahead, so effectively 3 for 1. And well, we could probably say that the innings starts now.
Yes, well, it's fantastic because they've lost only 1 wicket for it, and that was the luckless Mark Elgar. I mean, he probably couldn't have continued anyway with his finger the way it was. But
now Manali in again from over the wicket, and Markram defends a leg stump delivery back down the pitch. Yeah, there certainly is an argument that maybe Elgar should have retired hurt and just taken a bit of a break.
Yeah, but then they'd have discovered his cracked finger, unfortunately, and they probably wouldn't have let him come back on.
Markram pads up and the ball goes to slip. Yeah, I suppose sometimes in that situation, you just want to carry on because if you stop, then the swelling might really get worse and the pain might set in. So sometimes better just to push on.
If he's cracked his finger, he needs treatment one way or the other.
Quicker and flatter from Nauman Ali, and Markram gets a little bit of a tangle, but gets enough bat on it to squirt it away on the leg side, no run.
So is this, I wonder, the test with the most left-arm off-spinners of all time? You've got Keshav Maharaj and George Linder for South Africa. Pakistan have Naman Ali. Yasir Shah is a leggy, isn't he?
And Van der Dussen has really got into a tangle there. Or Aiden Markram rather, he caught in 3 or 4 mines there, as he first I think thought to pat it away, and then wanted to play, and then wanted to leave, and I think the ball beat everything.
But it was still pitching outside leg, I'm pretty certain, however much it
well, I think there might have been a thought that he might have got an edge there, but clearly not, because Pakistan haven't reviewed.
I don't think they went for the catch. I don't think they went up for the catch, because I think it actually fell short of slip, Babar Azam. But
and again, and that's nicely played by Aiden Markram on that same line, and he goes back and forces it past the short mid wicket, and it runs all the way to the boundary, but good fielding by Hassan Ali pulls it back just before the rope, and they are through for 3 runs. Markram goes to 67, and the total 164 for 1. Just on the 3 left-arm orthodox or left-arm off-spin bowlers, as you mentioned, Ravi. I do know that in India, when South Africa were last there, George Linder and Keshav Maharaj both played in the same test match. And
Ravi Jadeja.
Yeah, India would have had Jadeja. I don't think they had any other slow left-armers.
India doesn't, I don't think.
Way down leg. And Rassi just pads it away as it turns into him. And that is the end of the over. South Africa 164 for 1, Markram 67, and Van der Dussen on 60.
I think the next over is your last one, Ken. So make the most of it, as it were.
Well, I'm dependent on what the cricketers do out in the middle. Let's have they make the most of it.
Yeah. Don't take any wickets, though, please.
We'll do my best.
Yeah. But Antonio Gambino says the only difference between the 2 sides now is that we lost a wicket. We now need to build a lead. That's defendable, absolutely.
Again, back of the length coming into Markram, and he just defends it to that short mid-on.
Yeah. Poe says deficit wiped out with the loss of a wicket gives SA a platform to set a target. The batters in the hut must be relieved that Aiden and Rassi have eased the pressure. Anis Mohammed says Proteas are 3 for 1, a situation they have been many times before. Interesting stat. Pakistan have only lost 1 game when having a lead of more than 100. Proteas can be the second. Yeah. Cricket guy.
As Fahim Ashraf zeroes in on Markram's off stump. But, the ball back comes down and keeps it out. No run.
That was a good ball, but a very good forward defensive. Well, not forward defensive, but a defensive stroke. Simon Lewis actually pushes the idea of South Africa building a lead even further. He says, great team effort, setting up world-class bowler to push for a tough win. So that's presumably KG he's referring to.
Or Maharaj, as Aiden Markram again plays from the crease. It's quite firmly, but straight to that short mid-on. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's almost
I wouldn't say Maharaj is quite world-class bowler. I mean, he's a useful bowler, but I'm not quite sure I'd call him world-class yet. But KG is definitely. Otto Simon says, Rassi and Aids doing the work for South Africa. Now that's proper Protea fire. Dean Elgar also doing us proud today. Now go, go, go.
Fahim Ashraf, back of a length, and again it leaps off the surface. Markram gets it away nicely though, behind square on the leg side, and that will be a single. Yeah, for me it's almost like the South African innings starts again now. They've done a great job to get into this position, and just need to start again and back with composure and keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah, well, now is when they really should retake their guards and just say, okay, we're openers, let's do it. And the Kale Queen, Leah, Banksy and hedonistic anarchist, sends us a picture of her lunch. Kale, sausages, and an egg. So that's a lovely picture.
As Van der Dussen just prods the ball back to bowler Fahim Ashraf. No run, 165 for 1.
I was going to ask if that was an early lunch, Leah, but it's 1:30 where you are, isn't it? So that's fair enough.
Rassie van der Dussen just twirling the bat in his hands, as is his wont between deliveries. And here comes Fahim Ashraf again, last ball of his 5th over. Bit fuller this time. Van der Dussen drives. He's got it through the gap in the cover. It's not great timing, and it will be cut off before the boundary, but they'll get 2 runs there. Van der Dussen goes to 62, and the total to 167 for 1. And that's the end of our stint. So, Markram,
well, I'll be staying on, but Ken, it's been a pleasure commentating with you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ravi. And so we leave it on South Africa, 167 for 1, leading by 9 runs now. And thanks to this wonderful second wicket partnership of 119 now between Markram on 68 and Van der Dussen on 62.
Thank you very much, Ken. We really, really appreciate you coming on. Hopefully we can carry the protest to the end without too much damage. Thanks. Ravi, you've got me, and you've got Tim. And so we've got you for that final hour. I'll just jump on ball by ball. Nauman Ali left arm over the wicket to the right-handed Markram, and he plays it out for no run. Just pads it away, actually. No run there. Hi, Tim. This past hour's been pretty good. Well, this past session, actually.
It's been good. It's solid.
And Nauman Ali again outside the leg stump of Markram, who just pads that away. No drama there. We've got 12.4 overs left in the day. And so it's going to be pretty interesting from a Pakistani point of view to try and eke out a wicket or something, open up an end. It's still not over because it's 9 for 1 essentially.
Well, absolutely. We can't take anything for granted.
Markram plays us down to the leg side, and they take a single. So a square leg is there. Tim, what are your thoughts? I think I cut you off there. Nauman's busy.
Well, Pakistan must look at the fact that they've had chances. They've had chances to get wickets. They've also had a couple of LBWs. We did the recent one, LBW, which was given out and reviewed. So there is something in there. And I definitely think that this is not a pitch that you want to come in on. You have to get yourself in. You need to put yourselves in. So I think there's still a lot to play for. Still a long way to go this test match.
Yeah, so he's got a slip, a silly point, and a man at 45 on the leg side. Still down that leg side line of Rassie van der Dussen, and he just pads that away. This partnership of currently 120. Aiden and Rassie exercising their demons.
Absolutely. And I really think that Nauman Ali needs to give up on this line. He might be getting turned out of the rough, but it's being padded away and padded away.
Yeah, it's not the day 4, day 5 rough where you can expect one to just spit out. It's the pitch has been playing pretty true and a very good batting wicket. So it is a strategy, especially when you're running out of options. This is possibly plan B, but I'm with you. You might have to go back to plan A for a little bit.
Right. Absolutely. Who was that who walked behind you, Umpo?
That is my mother. She's busy.
Oh, right.
We've got the thunderstorms and everything else happening here.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
Of course.
This one down the leg side, just patted away and played off nicely with the straight bat no run. End of that over 168 for 1. No, we're just battening down the hatches, similar to Otto. He's got so the rain has moved south.
Well, I noticed.
Yes.
Sorry, that last delivery, Norman bowled from around the wicket again, which is really the line he should be taking.
Yes. No, and it works well with the angle as well. Tim, it's just, the ball can go on with the arm. If it straightens, it can cause a lot of trouble for the batsman and brings in that slip.
Yep, absolutely. That's exactly it. And it keeps LBW in play.
So the lead is only 10 as we see another.
Right. Incorrect solar energy, and the knots and crosses isn't working. But
first ball of Fahim's over, just defended out to the man at a silly mid-off. Mid-on, and no run there. They've got that silly mid-on to try and remind Aiden, if the ball comes straight, that he might bring that man into play. So a very interesting field set from Pakistan.
But just a little bit more on what you were saying about Naman Ali. Fahim's job is to tighten things up. His job is to tighten things up. Naham Ali should be the one that's getting the wickets.
Straight to ball there, in bringing that man in there at Silimidon, and just went on the bounce to him, but a much quicker ball, and Aiden with the reflexes playing it straight back down. Luckily, it was not in the air.
Chris the Choir says, punk, rock and roll, the waltz, polyphony, the round world theory, all derided in their time, but appreciated in time. Guerrilla cricket, thankfully, still remains rebellious.
and Fahim into Aiden, another one on that. This one was middle stump line, and a little bit too short that Aiden just played it off the back foot back to the bowler, no run.
That was a good ball, though. It forced him to play and caused him some confusion.
But that's what you need to do.
Yes, absolutely. Messages replies to Chris the Choir. Maybe we need to stretch the edge some more. And I don't like cricket. I love it. Lord Lupin says poacher turned gamekeeper. And Antonio Gambino reminds you and Poe, don't forget your Springbok shirt tomorrow.
Slow ball from Fahim outside the off stump and played out to the offside, no run. That's probably going to be on day 5. If day 5 happens, it's coming out. So the Proteas need to make sure.
Anis Mohammed says, if these two can back out the day and dent the bowling lineup some more, tomorrow Faf and Co can let loose, and Quintin QDK can come out and hit himself into form. Yeah, but there's lots of ifs and buts there.
There are lots of ifs and buts, and these two need to give the South Africans a bigger platform than they've already done right now. Lovely ball, a little bit of reverse swing, tailing back into the right-hander, and Aiden Markham shouldering arms, and the ball the line was just way outside off stump, so it was no run, nothing to worry the South Africans there.
Also, it seemed to swing more after it pitched and behind the stumps to the wicketkeeper than it swung before actually getting to Markham. To Rassi, sorry. Wasn't it Rassi who was facing?
It was Aiden. Aiden was facing.
It was Aiden.
So that's Markham, right. Yes. Next ball in, dying on Aiden Markham there, just nearly coming underneath his bat there, his bat coming down in time. And that's the end of the over, 168 for 1, no run. Yes.
That's why Leah tells us the Proteas are effectively 9 for 1 in the second innings, after tying Pakistan's first innings score, a situation a lot of England fans would kill for. Well, England's openers had a bad series in Sri Lanka, but it's not quite that desperate a situation. But good point, well made, yeah.
Dom Sibley not having the best of moments. Yes, Tim?
Just that last ball there that Markham faced, that's the ball don't want a new batsman facing. A new batsman faces that, and he's out. Because Markham is in, he's able to get his bat down in time because he's seeing the ball well. A new batsman will struggle against that inconsistent bounce.
So you're saying if a bat is in, but if he's not in, he's out.
Yes, Tim?
No, I'm just saying that a new batsman wouldn't want to face the inconsistent bounce. That's all.
Yes. Nauman Ali's first ball was just played out. He came around the wicket this time. He does it again through and around. He's got that silly point there, that man in front of Rassi's eyes with the slip. And he's also got a short extra cover in there. So any drive induced by Rassi needs to be thought of very carefully. But the second ball was also dotted out very safely out into the offside. Next ball in, played out, defended back to the bowler, and that is no run.
Well, in that second delivery, despite the silly point being there, he missed the ball and it went out to cover, didn't it?
Yes, he did. Yeah. Well, look, I can't begrudge a silly point for not wanting to defend.
You know what I mean.
He's there for the catch. He's there for the ball that pops up onto the glove and the catch. It's pretty much it. He's not there to save runs.
Yeah.
Next ball in. This one's going down the leg side with the arm and just following on. And Rassie does what he needs to do, just defend it out without any issues.
He was so careful with the defence. He measured it precisely round his pad, got the ball bat in. And I suppose he's not worried about the turn from this angle that Norman Ali has.
Yeah, next one outside the off stump, defended back through to that fielder at extra cover. That silly point isn't working, but he's not there to do that, as the heavens are scaring everybody in my side of the world. But it isn't turning much for Nauman Ali. So he's just hoping for one to just straighten and pick up some bit of rough. Another one's too full and just smothered out to the offside. And that fielder there at silly point finally gets one. So that's a good one. To note, end of that over 168 for 1.
As soon as he goes to the middle stump, Nauman Ali, the ball doesn't turn. As soon as he goes outside the off stump, there's a little bit of turn. It's not a lot, there's a little bit. What he wants is he wants to turn on the stump. Yeah.
Also, his length's a little bit too full, so that's something that he needs to do. You need to just kind of give it a little bit of flight, and allow the ball every opportunity to turn, which is what Keshav really did yesterday. And something that was really impressed with him was that he allowed the ball enough time to turn, and he managed to play with that angle that was going on.
Why did he forget about that this morning, though?
Look, I think this morning they thought they could just roll them over. There's a certain hubris that the South Africans have. Yasir Shah coming into the attack now. 1 for 38 to Aiden Markham. That was wide outside the off stump. Aiden cuts it very, very nicely. Great shot there from Aiden Markham. A loosener, and Aiden jumped on that.
Yep, absolutely. And Yasir Shah is apologizing to his fielders because they had no chance.
And we've got a person on Twitter giving us a shout out. Hi guys, Cricket Alpha. Enjoying the game, just tuning in now after the break at work. Thank you very much, Cricket Alpha. You can have us in your ears if you at work while you work. Maybe you're doing a bit of a desk job. This one, another short ball, a long hop, played off the back foot, but there is a sweeper. That is Hassan Ali, and he takes a single there for the South Africans, so 173, and the lead goes up to 16. You can listen to us, Cricket Alpha, on 1WSR.com, and that's just audio only, so you can have us all day while following the cricket. We obviously in South Africa, no other radio station is covering it, but we are.
Is that on Twitter? I don't see it.
Yes. So if you tweet underneath the video, your tweets will come through. A little bit of drift in from Yasir Shah into the right-handed Van der Dussen, who defends that back. We've got about 9 overs and 4 balls left in the day. Yes, so if you tweet below the videos on Facebook and on Twitter, the comments will come through here.
Facebook and YouTube.
No, we're live on next ball's played out to the offside very nicely, single taken, they even walked it. So we're live. Woo, okay, hello.
Whoa.
Thunderbolt and lightning. I might have to defer to you, Tim, for some ball by ball if this thing gets worse. But we're live on YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, and on Facebook as well. So we got all the social media channels sorted. Next ball's just padded outside the off stump for no run.
Okay.
I said why the Tuesdays were odd this morning. because I was looking on and going, it's over 30 in Cape Town, over 30 degrees. The last thing I was going to do was put on a Springbok jersey.
Yes, last ball of the over is just played out back to the bowler. No run, 16 for 1. Quinton looking very comfortable, waiting to probably come in tomorrow and take the game away from Pakistan with what we expect Quinton would do, probably play normally. But obviously it's dependent on whether South Africa can get this lead up to about 150 before he comes into bat. We've got Cyclone Eloise happening here in Southern Africa, and it's on its way out. So it came in late towards the back end of the weekend, and it hit Botswana, which is next to us, and now it's coming back out, and on its way back out, it's causing a little bit more damage and a lot more rain. We need rain, so I'm not complaining.
No, fair enough. But
yeah. Chris, I think you should take the final 9 overs. My feed's probably going to die now. So I'll just sit in the back and just have a good chat with you.
All right. Okay. Ali comes in and it's out on the offside, blocked by Van der Dussen, no run. 174 for 1.
Yeah. Well, bowling over the wicket to the leg stump line, because he's not really getting anything from this line, is he?
Not at the moment. And again, second ball of the over. This one is a bit fuller, a bit flighted, and it just evades the silly mid-off there. That was a good piece of bowling from Naman Ali, and there's no run. But that was a better loop in that delivery.
It just pointed out the silliness of that silly point, didn't it? He still couldn't stop the ball.
And that's a wide ball out of the off stump by Naman Ali, which Rasif van der Dussen just leaves, and it goes through to the keeper. No run.
There was absolutely zero turn on that ball. It went straight on. Started outside off, kept outside off.
Next ball is outside the off stump again, and Rasif van der Dussen, solid as ever, comes forward and blocks it, and no run.
Matthew Fisher says, I know it's tempting, but I hope QDK has paused the Targa Fashing on YouTube to watch these two bat. I have no idea what Targa Fashing is.
No, neither do I. Please explain.
Yeah, please explain Targa Fashing, but I think it's something to do with fishing, because Matthew Fisher is called mullet fish.
Very full ball that Naman Ali, which Rasif van der Dussen drives to the middle fielder and is able to come through for a single. One more ball of the over to go.
Leah gives us an interesting stat after this ball at the end of the over.
And Naman Ali comes in and it's pitched on the wickets. Markham blocks it and there's no run. 175 for 1.
Despite being run out for 17 in the first innings, Russie's average is currently 4.5 higher than it was before the match, thanks to this 50. And the very few games that he's played, of course. I mean, that makes a difference. But it's still an interesting stat.
Yeah, it's an interesting stat.
And thanks for that, Leah. Who does Russie could take his average all the way to 50 in this match if he scores another?
He certainly looked very solid in this innings. He certainly looked.
Yeah. Interestingly, at one stage, Russie was 56 and Markham was 59. And I think Markham didn't like the idea that Russie was catching up with him because he seems to have accelerated a bit. Now he's 74, while Russie's 64.
Well, Markham is the shot maker of the two. Normally, anyway.
Describe Markham. Oh, well. That is with Elgar, not with Russie, surely. I mean, Russell's preferred in the T20s and the white ball team, isn't he? Markram doesn't get a look here, does he?
And that is out. A foolish ball from Yasser Shah to Russell Ferguson, and we're talking about that silly mid-off, and he comes forward and he sticks the ball straight into the gloves, into the hands of the silly mid-off, and Russell Ferguson is gone with 64 of 151 balls. That is a very good innings from Russie, but he will be disappointed to be out so close to the end of day's play.
Yeah. Well, finally, that silly point made his presence felt, though for Yasir Shah, not for Nauman Ali. But they've got the wicket.
Yeah, Yasir Shah. Did I say Nauman Ali?
No. But they introduced him for Nauman Ali, hadn't they?
Yeah.
But they kept him on for Yasir Shah. That's all. And here too, we see the Crows coming and having fun on the ground.
So that's 175 for 2. Be interesting to see if South Africa bring out a night watchman.
No, with 8 overs to go, I don't think so. I hope not. Night watchman, if you have fewer than 5 overs to go, maybe. But at this, Pakistan's night watchman, Shaheen Shah Afridi, in the first day, there's a very good chance he'll get out.
Yeah. No, they've brought on Faf du Plessis to come out. Faf du Plessis has come to the wicket.
Yeah, I think that's the right thing. I think that's the right thing because there's too much time still. 7.5 overs left in the day.
Yeah, it's that. As you say, it's that in between, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're right. You want less than 5 overs before you start thinking about night watchman.
Yeah, and besides which, the night watchman is always a dodgy concept, isn't it? The Australians gave up on the night watchman for many years. In fact, I still don't know if they use it. It's a marginal, what's the word for it? A utility, I think, the concept of the night watchman. It was invented by the English, who were scared of the dark, probably, and it's somehow become the norm. But I don't see why it needs to be.
Well, I tend to agree. Also, certain batsmen have a certain ego. They quite like their averages, so they want to protect it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, a night watchman is saying as a batsman that, oh, I don't think I can cope with this. Please, someone else take it for me. I mean, that's like saying I don't want to be the opener on the team when you're the designated opener. For goodness sakes. Anyway,
Shah comes in here for the first ball to Faf du Plessis, and it's a poor ball down the leg side, but Faf's not able to capitalise. Hits his pad, and there is no run.
It was down the leg side, but did it pitch within line of the stumps? I wonder.
I think it did, but it was missing leg stump by a fair bit.
Well, with his turn, you never know. That's the problem.
Next ball is a fuller ball out of the off stump, which Faf comes forward and blocks it into the ground. No run.
Right. Yeah. No action on Twitter. No action that I can see on Facebook. Suddenly it's gone quiet with that wicket.
Everyone's crying because we lost the wicket, baby.
Possibly. Who knows? But
that's a foolish ball on the pads, and it's been given by the umpire. Very good ball there from Yasser Shah. Lovely drift in towards the stumps. It's just a matter of whether it is spinning. If it's not, it's going to miss leg stump. Faf du Plessis has viewed it. And it's spinning a long way.
that was
may even be missing the off stump. Still too difficult to tell. I don't think it
may have pitched outside leg. May have pitched outside leg. It turned that much.
Quite possible. It's quite possible.
It's a review of desperation more than expectation, because Faf hasn't touched the ball with the bat. So he's just hoping that line and length will save him. He can't know that he's not out.
Oh, and it's pitching outside leg. But my goodness me, is it close? My goodness me, is it close?
What luck.
Whoa, that is close.
Oh, fantastic.
That's a little bit fortunate there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, goodness me. But this is what I said. I said 1 wicket and things could really unravel.
Even one of the set batsmen would probably have been beaten by that delivery. I can't imagine Markram or Rassie van der Dusen would have faced that delivery with any equanimity.
I agree.
Yes, a new batsman is always more of a target. So let's see, one more delivery in this over. If that can survive it, then he'll breathe easier. Look, what I've noticed about this pitch is that it does have uneven bounce, and that some of the bowlers are able to get it to split up at the batsman, and it's been hitting their hands and the Pakistanis' case, their bodies quite a lot.
Yes, it has. Fuller ball out of the off stump, and Faf du Plessis much more accomplished there, and blocks it into the ground. It was no run. Yes, there's been, as I say, it's been inconsistent. You've had balls that have barely bounced above waist high, and then balls that have gone right up against the chin. It's that unpredictability it's very difficult to face, especially when you're a new batsman.
Absolutely, it is. Well, that's when you want to play with a straight bat most, so you can take account of the variation in height. But that's not going to help Faf against Yasir Shah, who's spinning it. Apologies for that. I sneezed. So we shall see. But if they bring the seamers back in, and maybe they should have a seamer one end. And no, they've got Nauman Ali. But
they got Nauman Ali
have a seamer
with his first ball in this new over, and it's blocked on the offside by Markram. No run. We still won 75 for 2 with a lead of 17. Markram on 74, and du Plessis yet to get off the strike.
Yep. Du Plessis yet to get off the mark.
Get off the mark, rather. Get off the mark.
Markram is playing Nauman far more comfortably than Faf played Yasir Shah, but then Yasir Shah is the master spinner for Pakistan right now.
It certainly is.
It actually wouldn't be a bad thing if Markram were to take a single sometime during this over and face Yasir Shah himself.
But
sorry,
don't take any risk.
Talking over these balls.
That's fine. That's fine. You've got 2 deliveries with blocks on the offside, so no runs. Make that 3. Virtually identical balls, identical shots. Markram coming forward, blocking it. So, no alarms.
No alarms. Nauman Ali, being an offie, isn't really spinning the way Yasir Shah does. And we finally have our first tweet.
Sorry, wider one from Nauman Ali.
That was also outside, blocked off to the offside.
On the offside, no run. Yes, the first tweet, yeah.
Antonio Gambino explains why we don't have any tweets. He says, exactly. We quiet because don't like collapses. So when our new batsman comes in, we need to breathe a bit first. Come on, Faf. So that is probably the explanation for all the tweeters.
The last ball of the over is again Fuller outside the off stump. Markram comes forward, blocks it and there's no run. 175 for 2 at the end of that over. With 6 overs to go, South Africa will be hoping they don't lose any more wickets.
I certainly hope they don't. Armchair Cricket Podcast says, what an over from Yasir Shah. Gets one set batter and nearly removes the newcomer to the crease as well. In spite of this hiccup, SA have drawn level and now are in a position to set Pack a tough total to chase. This Pack versus SA first test has come alive. Again. Well, it wasn't
first ball from Yasir Shah, new over. It's dragged down on the offside, and Club is able to whip it on the leg side, come through for 2 runs, 177 for 2.
That'll do Faf du Plessis' confidence a lot of good. He looked all at sea against Yasir Shah in the first over.
Second ball is much fuller, a bit too full, and Faf du Plessis drives to the middle fieldsman, and there's no run.
Yeah. And he doesn't have the
better line, better legs. Better line, better legs from Yasir Shah, and it's blocking the offside, no run. Yeah, as they're showing the first innings.
Yeah. Faf du Plessis at least doesn't have the irresistible urge to run a quick single. So he let it go to mid-off and stayed calm, which is what South Africa still need. They want to bat till at least tea tomorrow if they get anything out of this match.
If they can, yes. We've missed a single a ball there from Yasir Shah, a bit wider, a bit too short. Not a good over this from Yasir Shah, as Faf du Plessis rocks back and is able to come through for a single. It's been a bit all over the place, Yasir Shah, on this over. Too full, wide, or too short.
I'm back again, guys. The weather seems to have surpassed, and my feed is back. But carry on.
Oh, good.
Last ball of the over, and it's blocked on the offside by Markham. 178 for 2 after that over.
Yeah, Markham played that last one on the back foot there. Just a little bit of a press, just to evade. Well, not necessarily evade, but he's been pushed back by Yasir Shah.
Well, I want to give a small cheer of applause for Markram, who's been through this is his 4th stand in the innings, and he's just been the backbone of it. For all the flack he's been getting, he's played a really, really good effort.
No, that's also true. I've been one of the guys who has wanted him to try and give us that to prove his worth with runs, and he's done that very well.
Yeah, Leah Banksian Hedonist says, Faf better make a ton, otherwise no massage oil and topless photo shoots for at least a week. I know it's harsh, but sometimes you have to be firm.
Naman Ali's first ball is driven by Faf du Plessis to the middle field spin, but there was no run.
Naman Ali still going round the wicket, trying to...
Naman Ali comes in shorter this time, out of the off stump again, and again, Faf du Plessis drives field spin, but there's no run.
Yeah. We see the difference here between the leggy and the left arm offie, because Yasir Shah is getting far more turn and I think dip in the flight than Naman Ali, even though they're both technically turning the ball away from the batsman.
That's very true. I think it's that natural variation and the ability for Yasir to get his wrist into getting that ball to turn away.
On that 4th ball of the over there from Naman Ali, it's drifting towards the leg, and South Africa whips it to the leg side and is able to come through for 2. Score 180 for 2.
Have a googly at all?
No, he hasn't bowled. I think he's bowled 1.
He has bowled a googly so far, right?
Yes.
Just asking the question.
I think it was the spell before this. Was at the start of the session, not now. In this session, he hasn't. In this spell, he hasn't.
Okay,
That
we've
one,
got a lot of tweets.
That one is slightly to the leg side. Once again, Duplessis hits it to the leg and is able to come through for a quick single. He moves on to 6.
We've got a shitload of tweets that suddenly came in, so I'll try to get through them in the over break.
The final ball of it over is blocked in the offside by Markham for no run, 181 for 2. Far away.
So David Midgley gives us the MODC innings break score. Smut's century helped Warriors Crick Eck post 247. That is the Warriors. So Imperial Lions require 248 to win the match. Umpo, the only thing you've missed is Russie not getting into the 40 averages. Oh dear. Ah well. And Taiping Shan says sometimes a hopeless batsman's review turns evens out, and infinitesimal bowlers no ball of the same side. And David Midgley says South Africa doing well with the reviews. Stressful times these. Perhaps South Africa should leave the reviews only to the batsmen, not to their keeper.
First ball from Yasser Shah is out of the off stump to WTC and it's blocked. There is no run.
So Faf's got that. He's got that silly mid off. He's got that slip and also silly.
Oh, the second ball is a much better ball out of the off stump, and it goes through the gap at between keeper and slip, and he did edge it. Did it carry? I'm not quite sure if it carried.
It did. It went the inside of the first slip. It's that left-hand paw that he needed to get onto that. He got his fingertips onto it. It just couldn't get much more of his hand underneath it. And another opportunity, another drop. Markham was dropped earlier.
Consecutively by the keeper and the slip. But Fafton and a 4.
The next ball.
Faf shouldn't have been playing at that.
WTC, no run.
Yeah, but Yasser Shah is getting the ball to do a lot from this end. And he's just engaging Faf again.
Oh, my goodness. Fuller ball out of the off stump. Lovely drift and turn there by Yasser Shah. Beats WTC, all ends up. But luckily for him, he doesn't edge it through to the keeper. But South Africa is in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, and the guys around the bat are letting him have it. They're congratulating us, creating a lot of noise. It's just, it's theatre.
Next ball is fuller and flatter out of the off stump, and it's time South Africa gets behind it and blocks it for no run.
Yeah, so the only thing I could say about that edge that went down is that Baba's very wide.
Drifting in and out.
This one is pitched on the stumps and it's going on hitting stumps. Umpire has given it, and WTC is absolutely dead. From what I could see there. And they are not going to review it. So
he's not going to review it.
WTC is gone. South Africa are 185 for 3.
And Yasser Shah's opened it up for Pakistan. He just opened up that end.
Well,
he has now got 3 for 51,
and there's your
replay. Oh God, that's plum. That is plum.
Absolutely dead.
Gave him a whole lot of leg breaks, and the one that went straight on is the one that takes the wicket. Very, very good bowling from Yasir Shah. Faf du Plessis out for 10 of 20.
But it didn't turn as much as Faf expected. It straightened after pitching.
Yeah, which is so. Yeah, but it is the one that goes it goes into the right-handed batsman, and that's what got him out. Because he's been getting balls outside the off stump. He edged it, he fetched that one, and then Yasir Shah was like, "I've got you in the trap. Here's one that goes on straight."
And the obligatory night watchman comes to the crease as Maharaj comes out to face the last 3 overs.
This is a very experienced night watchman.
Very experienced.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say, Maharaj have been the night watchman. It's a very strange one to take a batsman from your lower middle order as the night watchman.
You're number 8 rather than number 10. I would have fancied Anuf Nokia here in this position.
I was just going to say, Andrek has been the stand-in the night watchman.
But he's not. Anuf Nokia is good facing pace. I'm not sure if he's good facing spin. And I think Yasir Shah probably would have bamboozled him a little bit more than maybe Keshav would have.
Perhaps. But
the ever-optimistic Josie Oak tells us that this is heading to a snore draw. Ian Turner, the sport-mad Ian, says far greater application from the Proteas batsmen in the second innings. Both wickets to date lost to good deliveries. Fair enough. Game on big time. Pakistan gone from dominant to just in front, and they will bat last on this pitch. And then he says, spoke too soon.
Nabil Ali comes in for the start of his new over, bowls to Markram, who blocks it in front of him, and there is no run.
Yeah, to Ian Turner, we miss him dearly. He's now in the UK. When you've got time, Ian, please do help us, and by jumping onto the stream, we'd like to see you and hear your voice again. But yeah, thank you very much for your contribution to One World Sports Radio in over the past year.
Wide out of the sub from Nabil Ali, and that's left behind, and there was no run.
Ian Turner can probably take the last sessions.
Comes in, and it's extra bit of bounce there from Nabil Ali. He's been waiting to get that extra bounce and catch the edge of the bat, and that's what happens this time. As Markham was caught at limit off to 74 of 224 balls, and South Africa are in all sorts of bother now at 85 for 4.
And that one got a little bit more bounce. We're talking about the fact that Naman wasn't getting bounce, and it hit him high on the bat. And easy pickings for that silly mid off. Abid Ali, 2 wickets, 2 great catches. I don't think he wants to make a career out of it, but for today, he'll be very happy.
That's
absolutely.
It's a game-changing 3 overs or so.
Oh my word! It changes everything. The outlook for the day.
A second night watchman.
No, please don't put Andrek in.
Andrek Nokia. Send it in.
No, the cocks come out to that. Oh goodness.
Okay.
15 balls to survive.
Yeah, so Pakistan have taken 2 wickets in the space of 4 balls, and now
I would have sent Temba Bavuma.
So we kind of sorted that one out, Ravi, when Mark Bache effectively shouted at everybody. When someone asked him if Quinton's going to bat at 6, he said no. Oh, whether Quinton's going to bat at 5, and he came with a very sharp comment of where against England, where did he bat? And so the reporter answered 5, and he said, "Oh yeah, so yeah, that's where he'll bat." So I don't want to go up against the game
situation. You have to take the game situation into account. Bavuma, I trust more to keep his wicket in this situation than Quinny de Kock.
Yeah, because I think Bavuma's release shots are singles and twos, whereas Quinton's release shots are a little bit more powerful shots over mid wicket. And right now, Quinton's got a slip, a silly mid off. He's got a short leg. He's got a man on the 45, a fine leg there in the ring. He's got third man in the ring. He's got an extra a mid wicket in the ring as well. And yeah.
And it's a foolish ball on the stumps, and this time Cook comes forward, blocks it, and there's no run.
Oh, just some
Antonio
great
Campino
bowling.
says,
Yes?
I think that is the first ball of the day that bounced from Naman Ali. I genuinely think that was the first ball.
Also, now we've got two short legs, 145 and one very square.
This one is fuller and flatter out of the off stump, and Cook gets behind it and blocks it, and there's no run.
Ooh, they've moved that silly mid off across.
Antonio Campino says, we had one job.
Yeah, we had one job.
Last ball of
Josie
over. It's a fuller ball, and it's driven by Cook, but straight to the bowler, and there's no run. 185 for 4, and we lead by 27.
Josie Oak says the collapse is on and follows it with about 12 exclamation marks. Yeah, he's always loves disaster, does Josie Oak. There are 2 overs left today, and we won't reach the end of the final half hour, to be honest. So Pakistan has done well in terms of bowling their overs, relatively well.
If you yes.
Yasir Shah has taken 233 wickets in 44 matches. How many tests has...
That's a fuller ball from Yasir Shah out of the off stump, and Maharaj hits it, and it squirts in the middle, and he's able to get 2 runs.
In and amongst all those people, he's got a silly mid off, he's got a short leg, he has that slip, and there's a man. Oh, there's 2 slips now.
That's a fuller ball out of the off stump by Yasir Shah. Becomes a top spinner, and Maharaj gets behind it and blocks it. There's no run. Yeah, Papa Azab has gone into ultra attacking mode with his field, moving a man on the leg side. Moving a man close to the leg side now for Maharaj.
And we have a bit of a foot malfunction there, a little bit of a misstep from Yasir Shah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, Yasir Shah gets his run up wrong and decides to pull out of the delivery. Alimdar declares a dead ball. No, I wanted to ask, how many tests has KG Rabada played?
44. This is 44th.
That's a fuller ball from Yasir Shah again, and Maharaj blocks it. There's no run.
So while we're lauding KG for
no,
it's
not. Let me just check that 40. For you. Let me not. I think it is 40.
KG's played 40 tests, I thought.
Just get it for you. KG's playing in his 44th test.
Right, and so is Yasir Shah, but Yasir Shah has 233 wickets.
Yes, but KG is the youngest and the least amount of balls, the 3rd least amount of balls.
Yeah, that's a full ball. Maharaj comes forward and gets a leading edge, but again, it's just out of the reach of the silly bit off. It's all happening here, the last few balls. Fuller ball again. This time, Maharaj comes forward and drives it, but there is no run. We've got 7 balls left.
No doubt, Yasir Shah has taken a lot of wickets. And we're just lauding KG because of his youth. That's the reason why. And the amount of balls he's taken in him.
Yeah. He's got a very good strike rate. He does have a very good strike rate.
Okay,
leg slip for the last ball of Yasser's today. It's a full ball on the off stump, and Mirage gets behind it and blocks it. No run. 187 for 4. 1 over to go.
So that's Yasser Shah over for the day at least.
But the drama continues. One more over of spin. Can South Africa survive this final over of the day and not send shivers back? Well, they're already shivering right now in that dressing room. It's 29 for 4.
This is an interesting thing. Why don't they open tomorrow morning the way they're bowling tonight with a completely closed-in field and spin? I bet they don't.
I hope they do.
I think Yasser Shah will open. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't. His first ball from Naban Ali, out of the off stump, a bit flat there, and Quinton de Kock gets behind and blocks it. I'd be very surprised if Yasser Shah isn't opening.
Yes, no, most definitely. A bit of a field change. They're taking out that man. They had, So there is another man who's going to be wearing a helmet in front of square. That's Azhar Ali now. He's going to be at silly mid-off. You've got a leg slip as well. Not necessarily a leg slip, a silly backward point with a short leg. So
I noticed
that man is
that Azhar Ali is getting a doubled box to wear while he's everyone's copying Faf du Plessis now. The double box
with the beast. Yes. Catches in and around
that. Ali comes in and it's inside edge there from Quinton de Kock, and it invades the close influence with on the leg side. He's in all sorts of trouble here.
Had he been squarer, that would have probably gone to his. He probably would have gotten that one. Yes, yeah. He's behind. He's in front of square. Had he been behind square, that would have gone straight into his palms.
Well, it was short. I don't know if he would have got it, but yeah.
That's
you can only put so many fielding positions.
Out of the off stump by Naban Ali, and it's blocked by Quinton de Kock. No run.
What South Africa have guaranteed themselves is that they're going to have fielders around the bat for the rest of this innings.
Ian Turner says, "Ooh, Groesbeck should have just shut up."
Big mouth, yes, Ian. Yes, Ian. You should have just kept quiet.
Fourth ball, it's a fuller ball. Out of the off stump once more. Again, Quinton de Kock comes forward and blocks. I think it's no run.
Tai Ping Shan talks about his comment on reviews and South Africa being good, and he says, but only 10 runs worth and 1 brings 2. Otto Simon says, I just tuned in to watch a bit of play to the end of the day, and then Faf and Markram depart. Pakistan are Pakistaning again. Top class spin bowling, going at the nerves and resolved batsmen.
Another ball out of the off stump for Naban Ali. This time, Quinton de Kock comes down the wicket, but he blocks it into the ground, and there is no run.
And Antonio Gambino says, actually, Pakistan was also on 27 for 4, so maybe we do have a chance. Yeah, one of those 4 was a night watchman. Keshav Maharaj has not been got rid of yet. So
put respect on Keshav's name. We could get a century from Keshav. Who knows?
Well, but yes, you could. He's not done it yet, but you could.
He scored a 79, so he's not.
But my point is, you've lost your top 4 batsmen, whereas Pakistan had 1 batsman in reserve.
The final ball of the day is out of the off stump, blocked by Quinton de Kock. It goes on the leg side. 187 for 4. Lead is 29, and that is the end of today's play.
Yes, thank you very much, Tim and Ravi. That is the end of the day's play. We started day 3, as I just bring up the stats, so we can just bring them forward. We started day 3 on, where is it? Yes, with Pakistan at 308 for 8. They went on and scored quite a lot of runs in that morning session. with them being bowled out for 378. So they added 70 runs in that early hour. South Africa had an hour to bat out. They managed to do that without the loss of any wickets. They went to tea at 35 without loss. Then the wicket of Dean Alga fell at 29. The lead that South Africa had to get before we carry on was 158 that Pakistan had, and South Africa went on their business. Dean Alga was out for 29 of 45. Aiden Markram had a very handy partnership with Rassie van der Dussen of over 120. They're about 127, and Rassie van der Dussen was out, bowled Yasir Shah, caught Abid Ali at silly mid-off, and then the collapse ensued. Next person out was Faf du Plessis LBW to a Yasir Shah ball that straightened. It looked like it was a googly. He was set up very nicely for 10. And then Aiden Markram was out, bowled Nauman Ali, caught Abid Ali at silly mid-off. He was coming forward to a ball that rose and got him high on the bat, and it was an easy catch for the fielder at silly mid-off. You have Keshav Maharaj on 2. He was the night watchman, and Quinton de Kock still yet to score a run. South Africa are 187 for 4. They are effectively 29 for 4. They lead this test match by 29. We'll be back tomorrow again here on One World Sports Radio on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back for day 4 at 7 a.m. South African time. I'd like to extend thank yous to everyone who came on today: Ken, Otto, Chris, Tim, Ravi, and Simon. This was Simon's last day, so tomorrow we'll be without him. So safe travels to you, Simon, and hopefully we'll get others on as well. We've just been going through a whole lot of rain up here on the Highveld. But thank you very much. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. with on Guerrilla Cricket SA on One World Sports Radio, 1WSR.com. Thank you very much, Ravi. Thank you very much, Tim. See you tomorrow.
See you in the ball.